I was actually in Tibet riding a yak when the news came out. I just got like email for the first time. So it said, hey, you're in.
I did my degree at DePaul where you don't have to have a technical background and it's the introductory. And then they had a very similar degree at U Chicago. I'd love to hear that story. I'd love to hear if you felt like it was worth it, because I'm usually under the impression that you shouldn't necessarily do advanced degrees, but I'd love to hear you talk more on that.
That's a big shout out for you, Chicago. I love how you talked about it with Tina. Ken Jee perspective at my school. That's exciting fact for me. I was a tour guide, so if I ever go back, that's what I'm going to say. That's a good question. I would say for me, it was paramount. It was really important because of the background I was coming from. I needed a fire lit under me, so it was a perfect match and made in heaven. And the way that I was accepted into that program, I submitted it when I heard about it from like a footer of a career email. I was actually in Tibet riding a yak when the news came out. I just got like email for the first time. So it said, hey, you're in. And University of Chicago, Stockholm Syndrome got to me in my heart. So I decided to stay. The reason why I think it's so important for my career track is that it brought me off of a slippery path of how undergraduate computer science is taught at most of these universities that focus on JavaScript, Java, C++, C. It brought me into Python. And when I first started my graduate degree, it was essentially, Python and R and working with Jupyter, working with the command line. These were just like very practical skills that I didn't really work on in the undergraduate time that I spent. And also it got me to work with actual projects. So I was a research assistant for two minor superhero economists at the University of Chicago. That got me real hands-on training with World Bank data, with Uber and Lyft data, with data I would never have been able to access in the undergraduate level, and practical experience I would never have been able to be connected with. And finally, the career office in the graduate level was really helpful. I actually worked as a career counselor my time there, and that connected me with my very first opportunity to work in the natural language processing space with a 100-person startup. The three reasons why I thought it was important for me was, one, I had a very theoretical understanding of computer science that would not have compellingly helped my case as a data scientist. Two, I didn't have the right data sets and projects that would have supported my portfolio. And three, it gave me the opportunity to work in more advanced machine learning space in Chicago itself.
That's awesome. I think I spot a trend here just from talking to a bunch of people who have done advanced degrees. It seems like it really does make sense to do a master's degree if you're coming from a completely different discipline. It's really hard to break in and show credibility to the first employer without some experience there. I think if you're coming from a parallel field, you're coming from mechanical engineering, you're coming from electrical engineering, you're coming from computer science, you're coming from a very technical thing to begin with, you probably don't need to establish that credibility off the bat. But in the couple of experiences that I've had communicating with yourself and Tina, it seems like there is a need, or for some people, it does really make good sense. The other thing I'd like to point out is that both you and Tina did research. I cannot stress the importance of, if you're doing one of these degrees, the only way or the best way to be successful with them is to capitalize on the research opportunities, potentially capitalize on the extra time that you have to get an internship or actual work experience, and use that time, use your coursework to build out your project portfolio. I think that, for me, I got really lucky that a lot of my courses had project experience built in. They were project-based learning. And that's what I got asked about in every single interview I had. People asked about my coursework. They didn't ask about the degree. They asked about, oh, I saw you took this course. And then they asked about, okay, I saw you did this project. This is really cool. How can it help our company?